Aloha! People of Hawaii, there are alternatives to raising our food, fiber, and fuel with the old techniques of industrial agriculture. In Hawaii, family farmers have viable commercial alternatives that focus on regenerating the life of our soil, improving the quality of the food we grow, and the health of those who eat it. For us, it's all about the food. You know, less than 200 years ago, the entire population of the Hawaiian Islands was fed with food grown and caught right here. Now there's a new old way to build a resilient production system. Today, farmers in Hawaii utilize a biological approach to recycle nutrients back into their farms. Soil health improves and the biodiversity of crops increases, while the cost of outside inputs is reduced. The Hawaii Farmers Union United advocates for the sovereign right of farmers to create and sustain vibrant and prosperous agricultural communities for the benefit of the entire state. Through cooperation, education, and legislation, we bring together farmers, ranchers, fishermen, chefs, restaurants, retailers, educators, researchers, community leaders, and health practitioners to share their knowledge and techniques. Who benefits? Just everyone in Hawaii who eats. The Hawaii Farmers Union has chapters on all the islands. Our monthly meetings are centered around a potluck locavore dinner and include presentations of special interest to our membership.
And Susan, give it up for Susan.
We meet with legislators and those working in agriculture-related government agencies to help shape the agenda for agriculture in our state. We encourage our membership to provide their personal testimony during both state and also county legislative sessions. The Hawaii Farmers Union is united with the 112-year-old National Farmers Union, which advocates for family farmers in Washington, D.C. We provide educational outreach and cooperative support between and within all the states. In Hawaii, we are actively cultivating chapters on each of the islands. Our membership is growing statewide. It increased by 30% in the last year alone. Farmers Union members apply experience, vision, and authentic passion to producing locally grown food.
So that's kind of
our mission is to grow more farmers.
Yeah, waste is a resource.
Please support the Hawaii Farmers Union chapter on your island. Our programs are worthy of your support. Our membership fees are very affordable. We have an effective presence on the web and offer excellent social networking communications to our farming community. Join us as we grow statewide. You'll be glad you did. Regenerative farming practices improve the health of both body and soil. Locally grown food is our best medicine. Remember, for the Hawaii Farmers Union United, it's all about the food. Mahalo and aloha.
So we're about to begin our program tonight. I'd like to introduce Jaro, Spichal, and Kauai Worm. Take it away, Jaro.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming, appreciate it. Today, my name is Jaro Spichal. People call me Jaro, it's short for Jaro. And today I would like to tell you a little bit about composting worms. The important, what they do, how you can reduce your food waste, your recycling, how you can create your own, the richest natural fertilizer anaconda, and it's organic, and it's created by worms. So I would like to show you first, let's see. See? Everyone?
Do you mind if you take that time?
A little bit closer. Is it okay? So this is our website, Kauai Chapter, and you can find some basic information about composting worms. So you're welcome to visit anytime. You can write questions. You can find information. I'll be posting more video. You know what's new, and so you can find a little bit more about composting worms. And I'll show you. What I'm gonna do, first I'll show you the bin, because that seems to me is where you want to start with composting worms. So why do composting worms? Why people want to do it? Isn't it just adding more work? It doesn't need to be like that. If you make it simple, it can be actually very beneficial. And what you can do is get some bin like this, or buy some, and you have 2 bins stuck together. The bottom one doesn't have any holes. It will collect all the leach, all the water, which will drain through the worm casting, and you will have very rich nutrients for your plants. First bin, no holes. You can add some 2x4s to make it higher a little bit. So when the water's, collecting, there is some space. Second bin, you have holes at the bottom, so it drains to the second bin, to the first bin. Then you have holes all around the top. That's air for these worms. They want to have air. And then you have a lid, cover it, and the lid has some holes also. So this is just the setup. It can be very, very simple. It's not expensive at all. You can purchase, those 2 bins, $20. Anyone can do that. You drill some holes around, done. So now you have the basic. You've got the bin. That's where all these worms gonna live. How, to feed them. So what you have is shredded paper, plenty of shredded, paper around. You can read the paper for small pieces, because all these worms, they will eat the paper. They love paper. You pre-soak the paper, and the paper cardboard. Cardboard, it will absorb the water, hold the moisture. Worms, they need moisture. They need 75–80% moisture. Thank you. And so you have shredded paper, add it to the bin. Then you have your worms. I'll show you some worms. So this one is original bin that I created. It's been with me 3 years. So yeah, it's beat up. It's plastic, right? But here we have some composting worms. this is what you're gonna have. It's pretty much worm casting, some, grass clippings still, they were organic. But it's full of worms. And that's what you want. Add it to the bin. So you add your worms. Nicely. So now you have a bin with shredded paper and worms, composting worms. And that's the basic. Those are composting worms. All worms are earthworms. Some are better for processing up food waste, and some are better for drilling through the earth. So these are composting worms. I have red wigglers and blue Indian mixed together. And those are great composters. Now you can, you have any food scraps, you add it to the bin. Thank you. Thank you. You just add it to the bin, they will eat it. If you break the food down, if you cut it, on little pieces, or what I do, actually I have a blender, and all the food scraps going to the blender, it's on a countertop, right in the kitchen, everything's going to the blender, it seals with the lid, no flies, no ants, no smell. When the blender is full, you just add water, blend it up, you have a smoothie for worms. You pour it to the bin, cover it with shredded paper, so it doesn't attract flies, anything, doesn't smell, and because it's break down, those worms, they will eat it in 24 hours. Right there, fresh. Worms, actually, they feed on bacteria, they feed on fungus. So that's how, all the microbes, they breaking down the food, and those worms, they feed on those microbes. So you want to speed up, you break down the microbes right there, and worms feed on microbes. So you're decomposing very fast, it's efficient, and that's all. You cover it, keep it in a shade, very important. No full sun, keep it in a shade, somewhere where it's easy to access, so you have food scraps, add it. Keep moisture, another thing. They like moisture, up to 75-80% moisture, that's what you want. Keep it in the dark, and then you have the airflow. That's all you do. You can go on your vacation, you're planning to go on vacation 3 weeks, prepare your shredded paper, cardboard, something that holds the moisture and it's breaking down slower. Or you can do the bigger pieces of food, right? But food will heat up. If you add too much food or some manure, it will heat up. You have to be careful because too much heat, they will run away. That's what I'm saying. Paper, it will not heat up. It will slowly break down and they will heat it. It will hold the moisture. It's perfect, if you're learning about composting worms. And you can, when you feed on one side. So if you feed too much, those worms, they have the other side of the bin, they can kind of like hide a little bit and wait when the heat is gone, and eventually they will go. And when you see those worms, they buy the food, there's everything fine. They feed on it. So this is simple bin. $20 bin, shredded paper free, food waste free. It's only water. Important thing, tap water. It needs to be, water, it can be rainwater, right? No from the sink. You don't want any chlorine. We are growing microbes. Chlorine will kill those microbes. This is organic. So no chlorine. You can fill your jar or bucket with water, let it sit on the sun. It will energize it better. Let it sit, for 24 hours, for a couple hours. And this is your worm bin. You're recycling, you're multiplying worms, and you're creating something very rich. The richest natural fertilizer on the planet. It's alive. Don't let it dry. It's alive. And then you scoop one handful like this of casting, feed your plants, it will feed 2 to 3 months. Slowly release nutrients. That's how rich it is. It will not rain, it will not run into the earth. It will, if you have heavy rain, it's not gonna run off. It will absorb the water. It will absorb the water like sponge. You're actually saving on water. So it's very, very good to do it. And another thing what you can do, you have the corn bin. Another thing what you can do is another step. We have the product, right? We have the casting that worms produce. This is casting. So you can feed your plants, or you can create your worm compost tea. So you have a bucket like this, fill it with the water, add some worm casting, some compost, some sugar, because sugar will activate all these microbes, that's what they feed on. And air, very important thing, because you're trying to breed all these microbes, and they will multiply in 24 hours from millions to billions of microbes. And then you have something like this. You have a compost tea. You have a little sprayer. You pour the compost tea, you spray your plants, you spray under the leaf before sunset when the air is cooling down, under the leaf, over the plants, pour it to the roots. That's food for plants. So all the benefits you can have just from doing vermicomposting, raising worms, multiplying worms. It's a great project for kids. They love, to play with worms. It's very healthy to play with the dirt, the soil, because there is a lot of minerals and it's a lot of vitamins, and it's healthy for humans to play with the dirt. It's actually healing. So it's a great project, and it's just the beginning. From here, everything is starting. It's a chain, right? You're starting with multiplying microbes, right? You creating these worms. Then you can use these worms it can be feed for chickens if you choose to. You can grow your, food because you're adding all the casting. And it's a nature. There is unlimited potential. It's simple.
Jaro,
So yes.
can you feed the worms animal carcasses? By the chicken that throw it in the water, or is it going to get too hot? Or
That's another thing.
Do they not eat meat?
You don't want to feed composting worms too much meat or dairy or oil or something that's very acidic. They will eat it. Yes, they will eat it, especially if you break down like the blending. I done it. They will eat it, but if you do too much, it will attract maggots, flies, rats, and you're creating problems. So if you blend it up, cover it with the shredded paper, they will eat it, yes. Composters, yes.
How do you separate the worms when it's time for you to extract your castings? How do you separate the worms?
Yes. So that's another step. So for beginners, you're learning about worms, you want something like this. Because this bin is for multiplying worms. You will end up with some beautiful casting also. but it's mostly for multiplying worms, so you can eventually give it to your friend. They will double in population every 3 months if you do just the basic. Here is bin for multiplying worms. Then, next step, when you have a lot of worms already, then you can start collecting the casting, but you don't want to add more work to yourself. So how to make it simple? So you can create a raised bed. I'll show you. There is a little short video about the raised bed that I create. Everyone, hello. So this is the free flow bin, and it's pretty much just a shelving you can get in any store, and you put some wood around, can be plywood, and screw it together. And what you're gonna do, you will feed from the top and you will harvest from the bottom. So you're eliminating a lot, so you don't need to separate these worms, and you will end up with beautiful casting right away because you just sift it. So I will show you today how to sift the casting from the free flow bin. So you've got all the worms right here. All these worms doing the job. So you feed from the top and you harvest from the bottom, and it's falling right to the bin. So I got just very simple, little string, and what do you do? Like this, and you just pull the string, and it's falling right into the bin. Oh, I got cut open here. And then you go the other way. Pull the string. Simple. And that's what we want. Simple. And then we have a casting. No worms, you don't need to separate, because all these worms, they will stay up here. They will stay on top of the bin where the food is, the moisture, and the bottom is already perfect moisture, pre-dried, separated from the worms. And you take the bin right to the sifter, sift it, and you've got beautiful casting. You just dump it there, turn it on, and sift it. And everything, it will break down. It will break down.
What's keeping it is just the worms.
It's only the packed casting. The casting, it will get compact, kind of, because you're adding more water and it's settling and it's getting heavier, so it will not just fall through, just through the gravity. You have to pull the string through and just like you slicing it, exactly. You slicing it, and that's how you're harvesting. And it's just casting, no worms. There might be a little bit of, uneven food, but that's why I create a sifter. Then if you feed only organic, if there is no plastic, you can just harvest and scoop right into your garden. It will break down even more in the garden. But if you want to have very fine casting, like you want to sell it to people, then you want to sift it to make it fine casting. And that's what you can create. There's all kind of like sifters that you can create or buy. And so this is another step from the bin, when you multiplying worms. then you have plenty of worms, and you have enough experience to upgrade to something like this. You want to collect the casting. And you have plenty of worms, so you're feeding them more. You have to kind of like calculate, okay, how much worms I have, how much they're going to eat, right? So be ready for it. You can create another bin, right? You have too many worms, you want to create, lots of worms, you create something simple like this, and again, shelving like that, you can get it for $100. Foods, wood, it's plywood, $10. 2 bins, done. So $200, you got the whole setup. So it's pretty much easy. And next step, you can, there is so many options that you can do, but you can do the compost tea, right? So you actually, you are multiplying these microbes. That's what you want. Because the casting, it's live, it's full of microbes. And you want to multiply them. So adding water and air and some sugar, they will multiply in 24 hours. And then you have all the beautiful food for your plants. Because what you're trying to do to keep going the chain in a soil, keep it live. Soil is live, that's what you want. You want to keep it live. If you start spraying, pouring some chemicals, just the chlorine, it will kill the microbes. You just breaking down the chain and it just stop it. It's not sustainable. Don't spray. You're killing the soil. Without soil, we cannot grow. We cannot grow food. You'll be printing some food, like 3D printed food, and you're eating plastic. You cannot survive on that. So, composting worms, earthworms, those are very important, creatures. They will enrich the soil. You will actually get something from nothing, from your waste. Anything they will digest, and it will pass through the gut. It will enrich on nutrients. And that's what that's the beauty of nature. It's a miracle. You're getting something from nothing. You're recycling.
Jaro, is that treated plywood or untreated plywood? It's just regular plywood from the one.
If you find, usually what I'm using was around. If somebody's throwing, it's a project. But if you have some untreated, yes, untreated plywood. Another thing, what I did inside of the plywood, because you are, adding moisture, you're watering it. So what I did, you want to add some kind of, I used a tie bag. It's kind of like a waterproof, so it will protect the wood. It can be, doesn't need to be wood, it can be metal, right? Metal wood may rust, but it can be, some kind of like, there is option. It's up to you what you want to create.
And so you're collecting the effluent as well under the bin, like normally, so you're collecting castings, so you fill it up with water.
Right.
So remove that, and then when you want to harvest, the castings.
Right.
It's dry.
So when I harvest the casting, but I still have to, add more food for worms, and then just add the water. So the water will run through the casting, and it will end up in the bin again. So you just get the bin with the water and pour it to your garden right away. It's live. You just rinse all the casting, all these nutrients, all the microbes, everything is in the water and it's live in the bin. You just take this and it's very good for plants.
And you pour it through a what?
When you feed those worms, you have to water, keep the moisture, right? And then it's draining down all the way to the bin, and that's what he wants to use right away.
Oh, they said you pour it through something.
No, I'm just
Pour it through.
and then I'm sorry. Then you take the bin and you pour it, or you can use the sprayer. You can use the sprayer and spray your plants. yeah. Another thing what I want to show you. Yeah, thank you.
What is this? You're just connecting the two bins together. Right. Just
Right.
a piece of cardboard.
It's just basic piece of cardboard because
Yeah.
this is just, some idea that I'm playing around. Used to be just big, underground, kind of like imagine the bin, but it's big bin. But it was getting too much physical and time, inefficient. So that was upgrade, to the raised bin and the free flow sifter. So it's very simple and easy to harvest. Because if you have a lots of worms and everything is on the ground, then everything is, you have problems with rats, ants and stuff, and pests. Then everything is kind of moist. You have to separate these worms when you harvest. You have to shovel everything. You have to pre-dry the casting. That's a lot of work, and you don't want that. You want simple. Worms, they will stay on top. You harvest the casting, and it's perfect moisture. So you just go right into the sifter, sift it back, and that's what you have.
You feed them once a day, feed them water once a day.
Depends how much worms you have. This bin will collect 30,000 worms. This bin. The plastic one, I will suggest up to 3,000 worms. When the density will get too high, those worms will start leaving. Those big ones, they will start leaving the space for the new ones. Because they will lay cocoons. In one cocoon that can be, 2 up to 16 or little worms. So that's how fast they can multiply. So density, how much food is there, how much air is there, dark, is there moisture, that's what they want. If something out of balance, they want to escape, right? But it can be simple. Keep it in the shade, out of direct sun, moisture, just water it, or preserve the cardboard, feed the cardboard, and a little bit of food scraps, and just watch it, how they behave. Less feeding is better than more.
How do you avoid having all kinds of other bugs in there?
Right.
I have all kinds of
Right.
things.
So, problem with other critters, insects, is that you have too much food, so they don't, they're not eating everything in a time. So you actually, especially when you're feeding food rich on protein, which will attract some maggots, ants, and all kind of roaches. So, as a beginner, I will suggest just start with something like a paper, cardboard, because it will not heat up. It will hold the moisture, and worms love it. They will eat it. So you can start like that. Small, little bit of food scraps, and just experiment with that. If you have more worms and you're feeding, regularly, then you always, put something on top, shredded paper on top, so it doesn't attract flies, and it's, it's dark, and those worms will eat it much faster. So do not overfeed. Do not overfeed.
Centipedes eat them?
Centipedes, they will eat actually worms too. So you don't want centipedes there, but
Jaro, do you ever measure temperature just to see what?
temperature is what's outside. And we have studied here on Kauai, we have pretty much studied temperature, 75, 80 degrees. That's what we had. And red wigglers, blue Indian, they like, warmer temperature, they can live, in a cold temperature too, but here, in this temperature is pretty much, you don't need to monitor anything. If you not have too much food which is heating up. But you will notice that those worms, they're in a corner and around the walls, and you will notice that. So temperature is what's outside.
How can can you have the cash spaces that are so nice and fluffy? Hard are either really wet or hard as a rock?
Right. When it's hard like that, it's too dry. And because it's all the casting, every little poop that was passed through the gut of the worm, it's coated. It's coated little clear, coating. That's why it's slow releasing nutrients. And it will actually, even when it's hardened and it's dry, you add water and let it in the water, it will get softened again, it will become alive.
When you got the ink on newsprint, we'll use newspapers.
Right.
Is the ink on
Yes, it's what you feed, that's what you're gonna get. Worms, they will eat any organic matter. Even they will eat even the ink, right? They will eat even motor oil in small, you mix it up, they will just eat it. But are you feeding them and then you planting your plants? Really? That's what you're gonna eat? No, always feed them what you want to eat.
The worm is such a delicate indicator of soil health that you can, if you have a live worm, you're in pretty good shape, as far as assessing, your environmental conditions of the soil. Newspaper is all soy-based ink now, but don't use the shiny paper.
Right.
And that coating that you're talking about, not just around the fecal matter, but also the way the worm moves and the exudae of the worm itself is called glomalin.
Yes.
And that's
very nice.
And that's a cellular food for bacteria as well.
Very nice. Yes. Yes. That's why if you bring the worm on the light, they kind of like they might change color a little bit and they kind of shiny. They breathe through the skin and they kind of like coated. Very, very nice. Yes. And they feed on microbes. They don't actually eat the food. They feed on microbes. Yes.
You said they double their population every 3 months.
That's correct.
So how many did you originally start with? How many do you have now?
I started with bin like that 3.5 years ago, and I started with 7 worms, 7 blue Indian worms. And they multiply very fast. In half a year, I thought that I will start counting, but I gave up after 200. I was like, okay, so now I have probably 500 after half a year. Yes.
Do you always use red regulars, or can you actually do vermiculture with what we think of as earthworms?
I didn't hear the last.
Oh, do you always use red wrigglers? Did you already say that? You use?
I start with blue Indian. Blue Indian,
Red.
and then I got red wigglers, and that's how I start learning. Because worms have different behaviors, different kind of worms, and blue Indian worms are a little bit more sensitive. They calling them travelers, and red wigglers, they are very much more stable, very easy to start with. Then you have night crawlers, African night crawlers, much larger worms and much stronger. So they even, if you open the bin and something out of balance, they don't mind, to go straight to the light, to the sun, because they have so much, water, so much stronger. So they will just climb out. And then you have different kind of worms, like we have these jumpers, also up to 9 inches long and super hardy. They will drill through the clay, dirt, and they go very deep. They don't want to decompose the food scraps. They feed on they drill through the earth, they aerating the earth and bring it helping the water go through the soil. And so we have different, but composting worms, the easiest start with red wigglers.
What about just using the worms from our garden?
That's what I'm saying. Those are different kind of worms, and they like to drill through the dirt.
Oh, they're the real.
They will not eat they will not eat the food scraps.
Okay, so where do we get these kind of worms? That is just...
So red wigglers, that's what you can buy in a store you can find, and or you can buy from here, and you just trying to multiply. And because we not import anything here, it's very important that you keep and multiply these worms. You don't want to lose them. So because we cannot import more from the mainland world, you must to multiply and give to your friends. Another idea I want to show you if I find, actually I might have a video here. And that's another kind of bin that I'm having fun with. And it's your garden and composting bin in one. Hello everyone, welcome back to Kauai Worms. Today I'm gonna show you how to make your own garden and worm composting bin all in one. So it's gonna be very simple. All you need is some kind of tub, some kind of container. I choose metal. I don't like plastic that much. This one is long lasting, it's galvanized, it's pretty good size, you can have multiple. And then some kind of smaller one. That's where you're gonna collect all the food scraps and you've got your composting worms. Eventually those worms, they will go in and out, they do the fertilizing around your plants and they feed, on the scraps you're adding to the smaller container. You close the lid, you don't need to deal with rats, everything is metal and it's gonna be filled with dirt all the way to the top, so it's covered. Only you're gonna see is the lid. You open the lid, put your scraps, and worms, they do the rest. You just water your plants, so you plant your plants around, that's all. So I'm gonna show you that I pre-mixed already some dirt here. So I've got compost and it's mixed already with worm casting, because worm casting is the richest fertilizer on the planet. It's all organic, created by worms. So I mix it 25 to 30% into the compost. You add it to your container, fill it up all the way to the top. Now, make it even. Eventually I will add a little bit more soil so it's even, so it's the whole thing is covered. So you see only the lid. Now you can add some composting worms. So we have some composting worms here. See all these worms? Place them in a small container, nicely. Each worm will eat half the body weight every day of the food scraps. So depends, how much food scraps you have, that's how much composting worms you need. So you've got all these composting worms. Now you have your food scraps, right? Any organic matter they will eat. Can be grass clippings, can be eggshells. You can break it down a little bit. All kind of food scraps. Trying to avoid dairy or meat. Everything's go into the small container. You can have shredded paper, cover it with shredded paper, they will eat it also. So you've got all the goodies for the worms. You can also blend it up. If you blend it up, you break it down, it will decompose much faster. Those worms will eat it much faster, so you can speed up a little bit. And that's it. Close the lid and plant your plants. I've got one kale here. And I've got some worms already here, and they will go in and out and do the job. This is your garden. It's off the ground. You don't need to deal with the roots. It's pretty easy to manage. You're recycling your food scraps. You're multiplying composting worms. You're growing your food. You're playing with nature. It's a cycle. And it's very simple. All you have to do, water it or just let the rain. I choose partially sun, so it's not full sun. And those plants, they will do just fine here. Simple, that's what we want. Thanks so much.
Do you ever use manures as a food?
Yes, I try manures, but what I'm doing as a basic food, it's grass clippings. We have to mow to make it nicer yard, right? So sometimes I will collect the grass clippings and let it decompose. You can get composted bins. You want to let it preheat, because if you mow and put it on a pile, it will heat up. You know, in a couple of days it's so hot you can even hold your arm in it, and it will start creating all the decomposting. All these microbes, they do the job, and so you let it be for a couple of days. Can be 10 days. You water it when you need it. You want to keep it alive. You're cooking, right? You're making your bread. That's what you're gonna feed those worms eventually. So when it's cooling down, it's preheated. Or if there is any pathogen, it's killed. If there is any weeds, it's done. It's killed. So, and it's ready, food, for worms. That's when you can take from the pile and feed your worms. It will not heat up anymore. But with manure, it's a little different, because it contains, there is leach, right? It's pathogens. So you have to be a little bit careful. You have to, again, go through the cycle. You have to heat up, under 60 degrees. You want to, or let it, decompose before you feed these worms. You have to let it sit, it can be a month. So manure is another step. So let's start, with something very simple, and it's plenty around. Grass clippings, shredded paper, food, scraps, coffee grounds, eggshells. We need, the calcium in a soil. Yeah, because we as a human, we absorb the calcium from plants. We don't absorb the calcium from pills. No. If you eat much pills, calcium like that, you can get sick actually. From plants.
So, great. And your question here, feeding worms manure for certified organic, then you have to use you have to use the organic rule for, and it's called raw manure because it's not been heat treated.
Right.
So you don't want to, vermicompost, you can use it right in a certified, if it's all vegetable sourced food. Once you fed those worms manure, then you've got to have the withhold time just like
You have to track.
Right. So what he's saying is correct. Plus, the worms aren't going to get rid of any pathogens like E. coli or salmonella or any of those things that's coming in manure. Whereas heating it up will. But that's why you should keep your worms cardboard and paper and really vegetarian diet. Don't give them the chicken because, you know, that chicken's got all kinds of cookies in it and they're not forced to do it.
There is option if you have, if you have manure, can be, you know, rabbit, can be, you know, cattle, any manure. If you heat it up enough, that will actually kill all these pathogens. Then you let it sit for, you know, a month or two. Then you can feed those worms and they will digest and transform into the casting and enrich. And it's gonna be very rich because there is all the nitrogen in it. So, yes?
To scale up your system, you just add more bins? Or
Right. Yes, and you just continue. You have a lot of worms, you create another bin. Or you can create something else, you can upgrade, right? You can create, you can create really big scale, but you have to count, you know, how much food you have around, right? So you want to, but you are in work, so you're gonna have full job, right? And that's why you have your business eventually.
When you do the castings, or excuse me, the clippings, the raw grass clippings, you just pile them in a pile on the ground and just.
See, here on Kauai, we can get for free the, you know, the plastic bin, and that's your composter, right? It's composting bin. It's good size. It will handle any, you know, yard clippings you have around and leaves and whatever you have. And one thing, when you have the bin, the bottom is hollow, right? So you want something under. What I did, I will lift it up under some kind of like, can be bricks or anything, and I put a plywood, some, again, Tyvek or something that is waterproof over the plywood, and then I set up the bin. Because if you set the bin right away on the ground, you will end up with roots, you have trees around, you will end up, all the compost will get, you know, filled up with the dirt, with the roots.
You just use like trash cans? Like plastic trash cans?
Well, you want the bottom be open, because very important thing is you want the air. If you don't have air, you creating anaerobic bacteria. You don't want that in this case. So that's why those bins we are getting, they have, you know, holes aside. You can regulate the top, and the bottom is open, right? So there is plenty of air. You don't need to, you know, like turn it. So it's very simple. You just keep it off the ground, so you don't have roots, and it's otherwise it seals. You don't have problem with rats or anything. You have some ants probably, but it's nature. It's fine, and you can monitor that. But then you just open the lid, put your grass. You do your layering. You know, you do your 2/3 brown, 1/3 green. You don't have to, but you just what's around. You just piling into the bin, water it, right? You want to keep it cooking, kind of. And that's very good. And then from the bottom, in a couple months, you just have beautiful casting. I mean, beautiful compost. But if you add worms, composting worms to the bin, then you doing the compost, but also those worms will create, enrich the compost and nutrients, so you have benefit. Yes, Ray.
So before the worm eats, a microorganism has to be present, and we're
we're basically promoting the growth of microorganisms. And
Yes.
specifically for worms, it's bacteria.
Right.
Because everything you've mentioned as a food, beside the protein question, is a bacterially dominated plant material that is not fungally dominated. So like wood chips.
Except the cardboard, shredded paper,
Right.
that's all fungal, you will grow mushroom on it. And that's what you can think ahead a little bit and say, okay, so what do I want to use the casting for or the compost for, right? So is it going to fertilize those trees or is it going to your garden for vegetables? And then you set up, okay, you want for your trees, you want the fungus, right? So you feed more brown and you focus on creating fungi. And if you want for your garden, you do more green and you creating more for your garden bacteria. And same, then you have the compost. If you breed the compost tea, that's what you add in the compost. Okay, it's very rich on bacteria. Add it to the, with the same with the casting. What you feed, that's what you're gonna get. Yeah.
Besides the grass, what else do you, in the paper, the things you talk about, other things you feed it that you, like, that's one of your main foods for your business?
You want to find what's around, anything organic what's around, waste. You want to reduce the waste because the landfill is filling up, 2025 it's low. Now what? Well, there is 50% that can be, turned into something very rich, right? So all the paper, all the cardboard, all the food scraps, coffee grinds, eggshells, all this can be recycled. And it can be transformed into the very rich, fertilizer.
Do you chop it finely sometimes?
Yes. You want to, the most you break it down, the fastest it will decompose. And easiest, for the adjusting worms.
And don't you have to add like some sand or something for the digestion?
There is, the paper is just fine. There is, the fiber, they like it, so, but yes, worms, they like, there is some little like a sand or something that helps them, to digest. But I didn't, had a problem at all, just doing, the grass clipping, it will dry, they find always something, the eggshells. Sometimes I will blend the eggshells on the powder, so it's breaking down so much faster, those worms love it. And it's eggshell calcium, it will make the pH neutral. So if you have something like too much, cardboard is, getting very alkaline, or too acidic or something, a little bit of, the eggshell calcium, it will bring to the balance.
Have you done a pH reading on
Yes.
the calciums? What is
pH, you have to first measure your water. So we have a well water, and it's funny, it's alkaline. I measure 7.3. And it's varies, so it's interesting, what's going, from the rain through from the mountains and into the, it's changing. It's interesting. So you want to know your pH, water pH. Then you add your casting, you measure the pH. So I'm in a range. Let's say 6.8. pH 6.8. It's great for garden. You can create a little bit more alkaline or a little bit more acidic. So I average 6.6, 6.8, 7. 7 I'm using for the water, for the compost tea. 6.8 I'm using for the garden. 6.6 I'm using for trees. Keep it simple. Don't work too hard. Yeah, multiply these words and create some, beautiful casting, grow your food. I'm always looking at nature, because nature is perfect. Nature is in a balance, and it's a cycle. And so how planet actually, what is our planet? Well, how everything started, right? Let's go to the beginning. So, planet, it's just rock, right? And then eventually water, and together, mixed together, you will get dirt. That's the life. That's what we are. Our body is dirt and water. That's what we are. And it's full of bacteria. If your gut is out of balance, your gut, you get sick. You keep it gut in balance, your bacteria. It's all related. What you eat, that's what you are. How you treat the dirt, you will not survive without dirt. You're not gonna grow. You will eat plastic. Yeah? And everything started in the water. All these microbes in the water. And that's what we are doing. We are multiplying microbes. That's what we are trying to do. And that is starting all the cycle, all the chain, right? Worms feed on microbes, then chickens feed on, or birds, they feed on worms. Then somebody will, catch the chicken.
Jaro, have you done a soil test to see what,
I did by myself, just, the kit, test.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not accurate because it's you're playing with paper. But I didn't send it to the lab yet. But I'm positive because it's created through the worms, and you feed organic matter. It's fine. It's clean. There is no pathogen or anything like that. And it's I measure the pH, and you see those plants. They will tell you the result. They will give you the result. But yes, you can send it to the lab. Okay, how much nitrogen I have? How much is potassium? How much calcium? Whatever you want to measure. I'm playing with nature, and I'm letting others do the work. That's what they've been doing it for 100 million of years. So, keep them doing it. Recycle. Simple. Anyone can do it. Anyone can have bin for $20 and worms, and just teach those kids. In 20 years, those kids, they will know exactly what to do. Like now we're recycling, all the glass and cans. We are doing it. Yes.
What's your vision for your business? Where do you see it?
My vision, my hope is that every family will have composting worms. They do the recycling, because if I take all the responsibility, if I will try to do such a big scale operation, it will be such a, how much waste I will have to, turn, right? And it's so much work, but every single of us, one person in the family is gonna do it. Well, you're helping me, right? I don't need to do a huge scale.
Have you approached schools?
Schools, yes. One thing like this, exactly, in a school it's perfect, because they will learn how to play with nature, how the nature works, how to recycle, how to plant your plants in the garden. Schools are great. Yes. That's what we want. And I cannot do it by myself. There are people, they do huge, operation. And they have a business, right? I'm here to introduce these worms. I have a business too. Yes. But I have enough that I can share. And you can help me. You don't need to import, all the soil from the mainland. This is Garden Island. You create your own compost. You recycle. Why to pay somebody to ship something here? No need. We have to make it sustainable. Recycle, make it simple. Just focus. Do your part. That's all.
You gave me some free compost at the market.
Yes.
I took it home, I brewed my tea. I hadn't done it in years, and I hadn't been doing my own worms, but I just had 8 flats of lettuce, 4 flats. I just put fish fertilizer, the, 511.
Nice.
Vermicomposting for next week. Vermicompost here, fish fertilizer here.
Wow. Wow.
I planted these ones a week earlier. The next I'm gonna have to wait for those ones. I'm growing more right now.
Very nice.
And they need my worms.
Yes.
I did this year's bad, but it was serious.
Yeah, it's obvious.
It's just like a boost. It's like when my son came, he goes, "What'd you do to those one lettuces, Mom?" I said,
It is. I think.
And those got no fish mulch.
Pardon?
The vermicompost ones.
They, no, I didn't put any fish mulching on them at all. Just the standard natural organic number 5, soil mix. Planted the seeds. They were, their little babies coming up like this, and then 4 flats here. I'm getting vermicompost, fish fertilizer. It was just striking.
Wow.
Yes.
Can the worms eat just newspaper and cardboard?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, they can live on it. But there's not much protein in it. Right? They will eat the cardboard. And that's what I'm saying. You're planning vacation for 3 weeks. Feed them cardboard, shredded, pre-soaked in the water. Or you can leave, big chunks, like potato. They will feed on it easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Is there any qualitative difference in the castings from worms that are fed a more balanced diet? And
Yes. Again, it's like making bread. What ingredients you put, that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah. So you get maybe a higher nitrogen content in castings from worms that are fed.
Worms, they will enrich. Even the paper will, enrich. It's a cardboard. And they deposit it to the soil, to the casting. That's what you want. But they will enrich on nutrients also. But you want to have more benefit, you want to feed, good stuff. Yeah. If you feed only paper, you will get very high pH. They will not make the 7, you will end up with 8. Yeah. And it's light, it's for plants. In the nature, those worms, they create the pretty much neutral pH. They will unlock all these nutrients, all these enzymes. So that's the beauty. But if you start, because you are feeding, you're giving them the food, so you have to be aware.
What's a cheaper way to upscale? Our problem is we can feed them too much, easy.
Right.
How to do it, in a system that's cheap enough and rat-proof enough.
In the bigger scale?
Yeah.
See, you have to count. You want to create big scale, you need lots of worms, right? You have lots of food scraps, waste.
We got lots of waste.
We know we have lots of waste, yeah. But they will not eat more than, they will eat half the weight everybody, half the weight their own body every day. So if you feed them too much, they just can keep up with all the food start heating up, and they actually have to, hide a little bit until it's cooling down, right? So feed them less, observe, watch them, what they do, how they, if they around the food, it's all good. The food is disappearing, feed more.
I realize that, but how, I want to feed, I want to move this much vermicompost. How do I do it?
How to move it?
No, well, how to produce it.
How to, yes, you need lots of worms. You need lots of worms.
Lots of worms.
Yes.
What is the next bigger unit? Those are fine, but to have enough scale with that, that's a pretty expensive system.
We probably have like 80,000 worms.
You have? Nice. Yeah.
That does.
Very good. Very good.
Well, he's got 20 acres farm. So, like when you see commercial guys on the mainland, they pour a cement pad. They have cinder block walls on this side. Bobcat comes in, or your front end loader. You feed on this side. By the time you get to the end of the row, they're done. So you just start cleaning them out and moving them out. Then you need a separator.
Right. You want to, again, keep it simple. If you have a huge operation, you're choosing, okay, how much land you have, right? Okay, is it you can they call it a windrow, right? So it's pretty much outside. You have a row on the ground and just cover it with some kind of, tarp or something. But then how you need a heavy machinery, right? You need a tractor, so that's one way to do it. Now you can raise those beds, right? So it's just can be indoor, right? So everything is kind of protected, and it's if you different climate, for you have winter or something, you can regulate the temperature, right? So can be raised beds and can be pretty much like the free flow sitter. You just have a tool that will just cut through the casting and just falling everything, and you just harvesting the casting. You don't need to separate these worms because you want to keep them. You want to multiply these. So that's more efficient, but the beginning it's more expensive, right? You have to build those bins.
Question about if you're pouring a pad like that, would you want it at an angle so the leachates
Always,
go to
there's,
one
yeah,
side?
the leachates are always gonna be a factor.
And so would you want them flowing towards which way would you want it flowing, towards the older stuff or
Towards the newer stuff.
Ray, can you describe this system? It's one that I'd love to replicate because he uses these
He uses,
sewer.
well, it's like, it's not culvert material, but it's that, blue plastic for drinking water, ridiculously priced material that he got for free. So, it was about 16 inches, 18 inches. He cut them in half, flipped them on their side, they're inclined, and then he just loads it up with the medium material, and he gets a lot of coffee and food scraps from the juice company. So his material's already in the finer, smallest particle size you can get. And then when he wants to, if he does get some thicker stuff, he's got a sink right there that he's attached a disposal there with, and then he just like shoves it all down there and then collects that in a bucket and lets that drain out, and then he puts it on. And then the separator, I just pulled up a picture of it. It's a wheel, it's a cement mixer, electric cement mixer, small barrel. And he gets like a 3 or 2.5 foot piece of 1/2 inch mesh, welded wire cloth, and made a framework for it so that when he turns it on, the thing sits horizontally, and the tube turns. All he does is just throw it in there, it spins, worms stay there, he goes and gets them gently, and collects all the castings.
So the wire is like sticking out from
the wire, it's like a tongue.
So you're throwing it in the wire, not in the...
You're throwing it in the wire.
Yeah, there are shifters, like you can have the drum, which is moving on an angle and it just passes through. You can have different, sizes of the wire. So you have finer casting, and then it's going, through more like we have these cocoons, and eventually at the end you've got worms. What I did is kind of like a table, which is like moving back and forth, and it's just bubbling like that. So.
And just the wire.
Well, it's made a frame.
I get it. Just expanded off the concrete mixer. The concrete mixer itself does not use it. Concrete mixer.
No, it's just there for the motor.
Who is this thing?
That's me, president.
He's got the nicest operations. And he grows wheatgrass and sprouts.
Yeah, I can show you the system that I have.
Those are mainly in the bins. So, Jaro, do you have any?
Yeah, I want to show you the system that I created here. I'm glad, that I have more, people, they want to do vermiculture and they do already. This is what we want.
Amen. Well, you've arrived at headquarters.
I was born in Czech Republic.
And where did you move here from?
So I moved from Czech Republic, I went to Chicago. And there was a Czech community, Polish community, so it was pretty easy, to start with. And then eventually, 5 years ago, I moved to Kauai.
Were you doing worms in Czech Republic?
Not something like that. Usually it was just a compost pile and worms in it, yes.
When did you go into this? Here?
Here in Kauai, when I saw that I realized that you can grow all year around in this climate, but you cannot grow with good soil. And the soil here is still very good, but it's bleached through the sun, that's why it's red, and it's depleted of nutrients because of the heavy rain. So, but there is a lot of nutrients that still can be unlocked. And worms, they will unlock those nutrients. But composting worms will create the rich fertilizer that you actually can start planting. Well, if you add in the calcium already, yes. All the nutrients are in the soil, but some are very easy to access, and some aren't. But these worms, they can bring everything. If there is out of balance, the pH or something, they will balance that, and also they will enrich on nutrients. So they even, earthworms, they drill, deeper, they will bring, these nutrients from deep. That's what plants, have the other nature, right? So,
Thank you, Jaro.
thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Where do you live?
I live in, it's a Moloa, it's between Anahola and Kilauea.
In the Hui.
No, Moloa. Yeah.
So what do you got here?
There's some IMO 2s that we've been experimenting with.
Yeah.
So this is the oldest one. This is one.
Yeah, so if you can let them, rotate, yeah.
And then this is one that we made yesterday, 2 days ago. This is the collected colonization from a good compost pile that's stabilized. So anytime we want to start composting somewhere else, we can use this as the mother concentrate. This is bread. I had a loaf of bread. So I was like, okay, here's a carbohydrate. What can I do with it? And so I put it into my same collection area where the bread was just rock hard and solid and white with microorganisms. So I mixed it up with sugar.
What you got in the box?
It's a little dry, but I think it's stabilized. You'll have to
Free for the team.
in about a week, we're going to get a microscope. So next meeting is all going to be about the microscope. So if you have compost or things that you are working on your own place, bring some of that material and make a slide, and we'll see what's there.
Do you have a microscope that'll put on the screen?
Yeah.
You still gonna be here this week?
What's that?
You still gonna be
Yeah, I'm going to be here on that one.
And here I have for all you furry fermenters some fresh goat clay from today. It can go right in any of your IMOs or anything you want.
Oh, wow.
Stuff.
Way to go.
So it's free for the taking. Grab some.
Sold.
What is it? It's goat clay. Oh yeah, sure.
Looks good.
Still